Okay, so in this section of scientific revolution, we will study about how different scientists, personalities, they paved way for different discoveries. Okay, now in the early section, we studied about what was the reason behind the lack of scientific discovery during the Middle Ages. It's because religion took upper hand over free thinking, right. Then what happened when Europe was reeling under these things, this free thing, the problem of the religion, we see that the Arab scientists were far better. They were far better than what they are actually doing right now. Okay, so they dedicate their time in order to study about the astronomical events. Okay, as they were translating the books from Chinese, and they studied about Chinese invention and Indian mathematicians. Okay, so they employed, and it is from Arabs, the Western European scientists, they were influenced, and then they started studying about the life around them. Okay, so for them, the Arab philosophers and the ancient Greek classical texts, the classical thinkers, became the source of inspiration, starting point. Okay, now we'll study about different scientists, different thinkers who were very prominent in the early scientific revolution. The first among them, you see him in the picture. Okay, now see, he is an ordinary priest. He is a friar. Friar we call just like why am a priest? No, like a father, right? Okay, now he is a Franciscan friar. He was a monk, a Christian monk. It was he who actually began this period of free thinking. He is called as Roger Bacon. He is a philosopher. He is also a priest, the father. Okay, so what he actually did was that we should think. He said we have to think. Okay, and we should not simply guess. His main advice was don't guess, not guessing, Guessing, not guessing, but rather you try to proof based on experiments. You do the experiments and you prove, and then you follow it. Okay, so that was his main contribution. We see here there were some scientists in Europe during the Middle Ages. He comes under the Middle Ages, the later part of the Middle Ages, when there was a change from the medieval thinking to the modern thinking. Okay, so he was born in the 13th century, around 1200s. Okay, he died at the dawn of the modern period, we could say. Okay, so he paved way for the experiment-based investigations of scientific principles. So in those days, why he says experiment-based investigation of scientific principles? The reason is that in those days, in his time, the common practice was to guess or to estimate the answer to any question. They never had any clear-cut answer. So they always guessed their answer. Okay, it was all guesswork. So he said, how long can we go on guessing? We cannot go on guessing. We should come to a clear-cut principles, clear-cut conclusions. So he said, how one can arrive at a clear-cut conclusions is only by doing the experiments. So we say that the sun revolves around the earth. Earth is the center of the solar system. Okay, yeah, we say, because now why we say, we simply see, we observe sun on the sky, and then we observe moon on the sky at night, and then we say, of course, these two are they go around earth. Okay, right, simply we say it's a guesswork only. But if we are going to do real experiment, is earth really the center of the universe? Okay, then we make some clear-cut experiments and we find out, no, it's not earth. Earth is actually going around the sun. It's not sun that goes around the earth. So this truth of heliocentric theory comes out of experiments. We do experiment. We do all kinds of experiments and we come to the conclusion. That's what he said. Okay, so the process of reaching conclusions on the basis of observations from experiments was not established in those days. Everything was simply guesswork. You just see and then you simply come to conclusion. It's not so, he said. So Bacon's insistence on this scientific method slowly became the accepted practice in scientific studies. You see here, he was a priest. Okay, even though he was a priest, he was a faithful priest. Okay, and he has to follow the doctrine, he has to follow the scripture, but still he also contributed from his own point of view that don't guess. God has given us the knowledge. God has given us the knowledge, and therefore we have to make use of that knowledge, and then we have to think, we have to reason out, we should look at everything in a more critical way and then come to the conclusion that we call as the experiment based investigations of scientific process. This is a contribution of Roger Bacon, Father Friar Roger Bacon, in the early modern period, or the early dawn of the modern period. Okay, so basing on his concept, we have a total different picture of how one looked at the reality. In the beginning I showed you the picture of Nicolas Copernicus. Okay, now he is a very important figure in the early modern age. Why? We will see here. We had seen earlier the Renaissance age was an age when a lot of research was being done on anatomy of human body. So in those time they were doing lots of experiments on the human body, what a man really has inside. Okay, and those painters, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, they looked into each and every detail of human body, and then they were drawing the pictures. At night, these artists, they will go into the graveyards, they will look at the bodies. Okay, so accordingly they wanted to bring out every minute detail of human body whenever they drew a picture, or whenever they were creating sculptures and so on. Okay, so it was happening in the Renaissance period. In the same time, another important study was taking place. What is it? Another area of study was the geometry of perspective, or projective geometry. Geometry, it is not only actually it's a mathematics. Okay, but it is more than mathematics. It is both science and mathematics. So geo is actually earth. Geometry is anything that concerns about geo is actually a kind of globe. Okay, anything that concerns the globe, that's what we call as geometry. Okay, so in addition there was an observation based astronomy. Okay, so in those period, as I told you in the beginning, there was observation based astronomy. What is observation based astronomy? So in the medieval period, in the Middle Ages, everyone was considering that Earth is the center of the universe. Why they call Earth as the center of the universe? Because they all observed that the morning, during the daytime we see sun on the sky, and in the night time we see moon and the stars, which means Earth actually is just static. Earth doesn't move anywhere; it's just there. And it is the sun and the moon, they were actually rotating around the earth, and all the stars, they are rotating around the earth, because it is a wrong perception of the earth. Earth is not simply static. If earth is not moving, we cannot move. All will be floating, because earth will not have gravity. Earth has gravity only because it moves around the sun. Okay, now why people of those time they considered Earth as a center? Because they were simply observing, and then they were coming to a conclusion. You see here, in addition, there was an observation based astronomy, only observation based astronomy. There was no experiment. Okay, the widely accepted belief during the Middle Ages was that Earth was the center of the universe, and all the stars, sun, moon and planets orbited around it. So this is the geocentric theory. So this geocentric theory was actually proposed by the ancient Greeks, because in those time the scientific advancement was very backward. They didn't actually get deeper into the knowledge. They were all observing and then they were coming to the conclusion. Okay, right. Now we should also accept that one, but still we should try to come up with the proof that what they said is correct. Okay, now what happened during the Middle Ages, church took this aspect of the geocentric theory and then said that it is the ultimate truth, therefore everyone should believe. Then what happened at the end of the Middle Ages, things just took another turn, that people began to come to an understanding that no, we should not believe anything and everything that we hear or that was told in the beginning, but rather we should get into a kind of as Roger Bacon says, experiment basis of scientific reasoning. This is exactly what we find here now. So people in those days also believed that earth was flat and that we will fall down if we went to its edges. That's the reason why all the sailors were afraid of going into the deep sea, as I told you in the beginning. Okay, now what happened as people slowly waking up to the real knowledge we call as scientific revolution, right? They thought that no, there is something wrong with the way we have been thinking, we have been reasoning. Okay, so we should change our way of thinking. So here we see many astronomers of the time studied the path and motion of planets in the sky. They faced problem. Okay, so always the observation and then the conclusion gives you a problem, because you don't really get into a proper experimental based conclusions. So there is always a problem. So what was the problem? Yeah, if earth is flat, if earth is just static, then how come we don't really able to see the far end? The world looks so great. Okay, now we see the horizon, and when we want to touch the horizon, no, we are not really able to catch the horizon. Okay, what is the horizon? You can type in the Google and see. No, I'll just show you what horizon is. We all observe this horizon. Okay, just a minute. What is horizon? Right. We all see this one, horizon. Just go out and then just you see the sky. You will see a kind of curve everywhere, north, south, east, west. Okay, that is called as horizon. 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 Okay, right. So this is what we call as horizon. Okay, so you go wherever you go, you see this curved path. So this is horizon. Is it end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. No, world is not like that, because no one can go to this edge. If you want to catch this edge, you go on and on, then again you will come back to where you started, because earth is round. But in those time what they were saying, no, earth is not round, it's flat. If it is flat, then how to explain this problem? Okay, so that was the problem we are talking about here, right? They had their own problem. Now they found that the motion of the planets did not actually tally with the geocentric universe. Okay, now they said, of course, this geocentric theory has to be really studied well. Okay, therefore we cannot go on with this theory. We should properly understand what is really happening around us, they said. So it is at this time we have the invent of Nicolas Copernicus. We also call, he is a Nicolas Copernicus. Okay, what is contribution? His contribution was a turning point of the human history, we could say. He said, no, earth is not the center of the universe. Earth is just a planet, and earth actually revolves around sun. It is sun that is static. Earth is not static. So he, as opposed to the geocentric theory of the church, proposed by the church and proposed by the ancient philosophers, ancient thinkers. He said, no, as long as we hold on to the geocentric theory, we will never ever advance in scientific reasoning, and therefore we have to hold on to the heliocentric theory. Sun is the center of the universe. Okay, so he published a book. Published a book towards the end of his life, in which he said this problem could be resolved if we accepted that it is the sun, not the earth, that is at the center of the universe. Okay, it is the sun, not the earth, which means heliocentric theory, right? And that all the planets, including the earth, revolve around the sun. Okay, so this heliocentric theory of Copernicus was a revolutionary idea of that time. Everyone, almost for thousands of years, people were believing that earth is the center of the universe. In the Bible there is something called Psalms, a book of Psalm. So there we find slight reference to the geocentric theory, that earth is the center of the universe. So if earth is the center of the universe, man is the center of creation. So what God has done, God has created man, and then he has crowned man as a king of the universe. He is the center of the universe because earth is the center of the universe. Okay, that is why church always considered earth as the center of the universe. But Copernicus says no, it cannot be center of the universe, because if earth is the center of the universe, then you will have so many problems, and people were actually facing the problems. Okay, he said earth is not the center of the universe, but rather it is the sun which is the center of the universe, he said. So he proposed heliocentric theory, sun-centered universe. So Copernicus was quite revolutionary. It was very luckily, when his book was published, he already died. He already passed away. He died. If Copernicus were to be alive when the book was published, he would have been surely be persecuted by the church. He would have been killed by the church, because his idea was against the Christian belief, against the Bible. Okay, so people were not ready. When his idea was published, when his book was published, people were not ready to accept that earth, which appeared stationary to them, could actually be orbiting the sun. People could not accept. Okay, the church, what happened? Church stated that God had ordained that earth was the center of the universe, so that humans could live at the center. So the church opposed the heliocentric theory. Okay, see, the reason why church opposed the heliocentric theory is that earth is the center of the universe, and God created man, here in this earth, and therefore humans are the center. Man is the center. Man is the king, because God has created man, and therefore church said no. Anyone who is found to be accepting the heliocentric theory of Copernicus should be put to death. That was the stand of the church of that time. Okay, then what happened? Now this did not stop any scientists from studying about it. See, we say in the beginning of the chapters we studied about the middle classes. These people were always traveling from one place to the another place. Okay, so they did all their studies from wherever they were. Okay, so many astronomers, on looking at the discovery of Copernicus, they investigated his theory, and they made detailed minute observations of the motion of stars and planets in the sky. So following his discovery, they once again started studying about the motion of stars, motion of the planets, and what is really happening around us. Okay, then slowly they were able to solve the problem of the horizon. Okay, so in this line we see Tycho Brahe is a German. Okay, so he set up an observatory in Denmark, first observatory in Denmark, using a huge telescope. He was trying to observe the sky. Okay, here new methods were used to observe the planets and calculate their motion. Okay, and then another important astronomer, he is another important figure, Johannes Kepler. Okay, so it was Kepler who mathematically proved scientifically and mathematically prove that what Copernicus said is correct. Okay, he said he observed everything, and then mathematically he proved that he is correct. He noted the calculations and made sense if only the earth and all the planets revolve around the sun, as Copernicus said. But he found a slight error in Copernicus. What was that error? He said Copernicus has made a mistake in one respect. What is that? Copernicus said Earth revolved around the sun in a circular motion. Circular path means going around. So sun is the sun, okay, and according to Copernicus, Earth just moved in a perfect circle around the sun. And Copernicus said, if Earth moves around the sun, then we cannot explain about the changing of seasons. Okay, so if you want to explain about the changing of seasons, then this circular movement of Earth is actually not circular, but rather it is elliptical. Right? So that is the error that he found in Copernicus. It's not a circular movement. It's not a circular movement, but rather it is actually an elliptical movement in an elliptical path. This is a elliptical path. So Earth moves around the sun in an elliptical path. So you see here, it's not circular, but rather it's elliptical. Okay, so based on the he proved this by the mathematical calculations. So observations and calculations, and not simply merely by the religious belief. And another important person whom we come across is, you see here, this person, Galileo Galilei. Okay, and he for the first time, Galileo. Okay, so this we will see in the next section about the Galileo. Thank you.